Philippine defense planning is entering a decisive phase as Manila seeks to rebuild its ability to project mobile firepower across the archipelago. The rise of China's coercive tactics in the West Philippine Sea, ranging from Coast Guard intimidation to a more sophisticated network of unmanned systems, has forced the armed forces of the Philippines to accelerate modernization choices that were once postponed. One of the most consequential decisions involves selecting the next generation of attack helicopters. The country already operates the T129 Atak, but in limited numbers and under uncertain long-term support conditions. As the Philippines prepares for a more contested decade, the debate increasingly centers on whether Manila should expand the T129 fleet, transition to the American AH-1Z Viper, or pursue the highly capable but expensive AH-64E Apache Guardian. The answer requires examining political reliability, industrial support, alliance integration, and the practical demands of operations around Luzon, Palawan, and the island chains most exposed to Chinese pressure. The first factor driving urgency is the operational environment. China's maritime presence is no longer defined by traditional warships alone. It now incorporates armed Coast Guard vessels, hundreds of maritime militia platforms, persistent surveillance drones, and a rapidly growing set of unmanned surface craft that can mass at low cost. These tools require Manila to respond quickly to incidents without triggering escalation. Fast reaction time, precision engagement, and survivability in bad weather are indispensable attributes. And attack helicopters represent a unique bridge between light infantry and jet aircraft. The Philippines also faces the geographic challenge of needing to move firepower rapidly across dispersed islands. Long endurance, stable logistics, and the ability to operate from improvised bases matter as much as raw firepower. The T129 Atak, built by Turkey and equipped with engines that rely on American export licenses, presents a mix of strengths and constraints. It is agile, relatively affordable, and well-suited to close air support missions in mountainous or jungle environments. The helicopter's weapons package is effective at short range, and its compact size allows flexible deployment from small forward arming and refueling points. However, the Atak's biggest vulnerability is political rather than technical. Because its engines are made by a joint venture involving the United States, future exports or upgrades require approval from Washington. This creates a strategic exposure for Manila at a time when reliability of supply is paramount. Moreover, a small fleet of Ataks makes sustainment difficult. Without scale, spare parts networks remain thin, and aircraft availability can fall below operational needs. The Atak may fit the lower end of the budget spectrum, but it lacks long-term certainty. The AH-1Z Viper, by contrast, is designed around the United States Marine Corps' expeditionary model and is built to thrive in exactly the kind of maritime-forward scenarios the Philippines increasingly faces. Its twin-engine configuration, advanced sensors, and high reliability rate give it an advantage in demanding weather conditions commonly seen in Luzon and Palawan. More importantly, the AH-1Z is fully compatible with United States command and control systems, including Link 16, which Manila is integrating into its broader Joint Command architecture. This matters because future Philippine deterrence will rely heavily on information sharing with the United States, Japan, and Australia. An attack helicopter that plugs smoothly into Allied networks becomes more than a weapon. It becomes a node in a multi-domain defense grid. Sustainment is another decisive advantage. The United States can provide deep logistics, training pipelines, and long-term upgrade paths, ensuring that the Viper's life cycle is predictable and politically secure. The AH-64E Apache Guardian occupies a different category altogether. It is one of the most capable attack helicopters ever built, with exceptional sensors, advanced long-range missiles, and a battlefield management system that makes it the centerpiece of United States Army aviation. For countries like Japan, Singapore, and Indonesia, the Apache offers overwhelming standoff firepower. If the Philippines were to purchase it, the Apache would offer impressive capability against armored formations, surface vessels, and even radar systems, depending on the payload configuration. Yet the same features that make the Apache dominant also make it extremely expensive to operate. Fuel consumption, maintenance man-hours per flight hour, required support equipment, and the need for highly trained technicians all translate to long-term budget pressure. The Philippines, still balancing investments in coastal defense missiles, ground-based radars, long-range rocket artillery, and new fighter aircraft, may find the Apache more burden than benefit. The helicopter could also become a high-value platform so few in number that it fails to deliver the distributed firepower the archipelago requires. The real question is what role attack helicopters must play in a Philippine force structure that is increasingly shaped by deterrence, maritime domain awareness, and alliance interoperability. The Philippines does not need a heavy strike platform to spearhead offensive operations. Instead, it requires an aircraft that can rapidly support Marine and Army units across fragmented terrain, patrol sensitive maritime zones, confront small hostile vessels, and integrate with allied intelligence and command systems. The attack helicopter must also fit into a broader concept where BrahMos coastal missile batteries, ground-based air defense systems, and unmanned aircraft form the main pillars of deterrence against a stronger opponent. From this perspective, the ideal platform should be reliable, easily maintained, and affordable enough to purchase in meaningful quantities. This is where the AH-1Z Viper emerges as the most realistic solution. It provides enough firepower to counter fast craft, disrupt militia incursions, and support rapid reaction forces. It offers high readiness rates and a strong track record in maritime environments. The network advantages are particularly relevant, as the Philippines will increasingly rely on shared tracking data, fused sensor feeds, and allied early warning inputs to compensate for its limited fleet size. The Viper is also scalable. Manila can start with a modest fleet and gradually expand as budgets allow, without being locked into a prohibitively expensive ecosystem. The Apache remains attractive as a statement of high-end capability, and it may be a long-term option if the Philippine defense budget grows significantly by the early 2030s. But choosing it now risks draining resources from systems that provide greater strategic leverage, such as long-range precision fires, over-the-horizon radars, and maritime surveillance networks. Meanwhile, the T129 Atak, while useful in the short term, does not provide the industrial or political security needed for a generational modernization program. As tensions rise and regional military power shifts toward increasingly unmanned and networked systems, the Philippines must choose platforms that increase the survivability and responsiveness of its forces without overstretching its resources. The attack helicopter decision is less about buying the most powerful aircraft and more about selecting a tool that reinforces Manila's shift toward distributed, allied integrated defense. In this framework, the AH-1Z Viper stands out as the platform that best aligns with Philippine strategy, geography, and alliances during the decisive decade ahead.